Vogue just published an article titled "Having a Boyfriend is Embarrassing," and honestly, the fact that this even had to be written is a clear wake-up call for men. Because if women, smart, independent women with their own careers, homes, and lives, are saying that being in a relationship with a man feels like a downgrade, we are clearly doing something wrong. One of the quotes really stuck with me: being partnered doesn't affirm your womanhood anymore. It is no longer considered an achievement. That has to stop and make us think. There was a time when having a boyfriend, a husband, was seen as a step up, a kind of validation. Now it's something many women feel hesitant to even post about or tell anyone about. They feel like they need to hide it from their friends or family in fear of even being judged. Somewhere along the way, it seems that men stopped being a source of strength or support. Men became something that takes rather than adds value. And when you think about it, why would a woman with her own income, her own peace, and her own power choose to bring someone into her life who only adds stress or extra work? And I know for me, having a girlfriend isn't something you're entitled to. It's a privilege. And with that privilege comes responsibility. That might mean doing more of the day-to-day work, laundry, dishes, and things many men still expect women to mostly handle. It might mean supporting her ambitions, helping her go back to school, cheering her on in her career, or simply creating space for her to thrive. At its best, a relationship is about two people making each other stronger, better, helping one another become the best version of themselves. But if we're honest, it seems a lot of men aren't holding up to that side of the bargain right now, which is clear in the article. We need to change that. We need to start bringing back real value, emotional, practical, intellectual, so that being with us isn't embarrassing, it's empowering. So when Vogue says having a boyfriend is embarrassing, maybe it's less about mockery and more about disappointment, because the modern woman feels like being with a man is a step backwards. Got a lot of work to do.
Big props where it's due. Shout out to Davis Jordan for putting a spotlight on this article from Vogue. Having a boyfriend is embarrassing. Seriously, just the fact it had to be written is yet another wake-up call for us men about how deep and widespread misandry is today. Now listen, today the chat is going to respectfully disagree with some of David Jordan's angles, even though we respect the energy. Davis says, men, we've lost our value. Women are saying that being with us feels like a downgrade. And yeah, that stings if one is susceptible to people's insults. But let's pause and look. Guys like Davis Jordan, and I'll throw in names like Uncle Roland Martin, and you could add others if you know them. These are men who've bought into the narrative of female leadership first, male support after. They're on the feminist train, waving the flag. But what they rarely do, they don't talk about men's realities. They don't highlight the structural issues that hit men harder. And meanwhile, we get article titles like, "Why He's Too Basic to Date Now," "Stop Man-Sealing," "Women Don't Need That Leech," "Dating a Man is a Career Move Until It's Not." These aren't headlines. They're rhetorical grenades. When men and women alike treat relationships like liability instead of partnership, you know something's skewed. The bias is in the assumption that women are supposedly flawless and that men are the problem. That's not feminism. That's misandry and pretty packaging. So here's the deal. Yes, Davis and others have opened a door of discussion, even though misguided by their buy-in to the misandrous trends. Great, but don't stop there. Women, if you only ever scan for the problem with men, you'll keep ending up disappointed. Real change comes when we stop treating each other like checks on a spreadsheet and start building value together. And newsflash, you are not perfect either. So write your articles and formulate your critiques, keeping that in mind genuinely. I'm Blez. This is The Chat. We out.